Former Georgia gubernatorial candidate and voting rights activist Stacey Abrams appeared before lawmakers this week for a hearing on voting rights.
How did that go?
It went pretty well. I mean, she kind of knows her stuff, you know. Yeah. At one point, Republican Senator John Kennedy pressed her on...
How did that go?
Well, she really, you know, she knows her stuff. I think it went pretty well. Yeah. Kennedy pressed her on her stance against Georgia's new voting law. You know, the one we've been talking about for weeks, asking her to list specific provisions that she disagrees with.
How did that go?
Pretty good. Take a look.
Tell me, you're against the Georgia bill, I gather. Is that right?
I'm against certain provisions of it, yes.
Okay, and I think you've called it a racist bill. Am I right?
I think there are provisions of it that are racist, yes.
Okay. Tell me specifically, just give me a list of the provisions that you object to.
I object to the provisions that remove access to the right to vote, that shorten the federal runoff period from 9 weeks to 4 weeks, that restrict the time that a voter can request and return an absentee ballot application, that eliminate...
Slow down for me, because our audio is not real good here.
Certainly.
Could you start over for me?
Certainly.
Thank you, ma'am.
It shortens the federal runoff period from 9 weeks to 4 weeks.
Okay.
It restricts the time a voter can request and return an absentee ballot application.
Right.
It requires that a voter have a photo identification or some other form of identification that they're willing to surrender in order to participate in the absentee ballot process.
If I can stop you, that's where they're going to not comparing signatures, but to voter ID?
Yes, sir. And as Ms. Eiffel has pointed out, we would become only the 4th state in the nation to require voters to put at risk their identity.
What else? What else?
It eliminates over 300 hours of Dropbox availability.
Okay, what else?
It bans nearly all out-of-precinct votes.
Bans what? I'm sorry?
It bans nearly all out-of-precinct votes.
Okay.
Meaning that if you get to a precinct and you are in line for 4 hours and you get to the end of the line and you are not there between 5 and 7 p.m.,
okay.
You have to start all over again.
Is that everything?
No, it is not. No, sir. It restricts the hours of operation because it now, under the guise of setting a standardized timeline, it makes it optional for counties that may be may not want to see expanded access to the right to vote. They can now limit their hours. Instead of those hours being from 7 to 7, they're now from 9 to 5, which may have an effect on voters who cannot vote during business hours during early voting. It limits the...
Okay, I get the idea. I get the idea.
Yeah. Willie.
What?
What do you have in there?
Why do people keep underestimating her?
Matlock would have been very disappointed with Senator Kennedy. He of Oxford fame and also, of course, John Kerry supporter. You don't ask the question if you don't know the answer, especially if you're trying to set somebody up like him. And I'll tell you something else, and maybe it was just the seersucker suits that made him so darn polite with his witnesses. But Senator Kennedy, he of Oxford fame and former John Kerry supporter, he kept trying to throw her off. He kept trying to interrupt her. She would excuse
me, we've got an audio problem.
He's going to explain it. He'd cut her off. It just, seriously, this guy, I guess they don't teach Matlock at Oxford because he sure made a mess of things for himself, didn't he, Willie?
That was the definition of getting more than you bargained for, as Stacey Abrams calmly and coolly ticked through a lot more than he thought she knew, perhaps Gene Robinson. And it went on like that for a long time. Stacey Abrams was confronted by Senator Kennedy, but also Ted Cruz and other Republicans about her own race in 2018, asking her about other laws in other states. You got the sense perhaps there was some frustration that because of Stacey Abrams largely, that they no longer hold the majority in that body, do Republicans.
Yeah, exactly. And so they wanted to go after her. But you would think that they would have learned by now that if you're going to mess with Stacey Abrams, you better come correct. You better come with more than our faux Matlock had yesterday. That was a riot. I was thinking the same thing that is obviously something they don't teach at the Oxford Debating Union about dealing with powerful, intelligent people who are just going to. I mean, she mowed him down basically, and it was highly entertaining to watch.
Well, actually, it was a really great example for anybody who's sort of figuring out how do women develop their voices in this sea of how men do what they do. She was elegant, she was measured, she kept coming back, and she mowed him down without lifting a finger.
She had information.
But my big question for Sam Stein is, or for anybody on this panel, is why in the world does anybody keep underestimating this woman? If you think about it, in terms of the way she turned out the vote in Georgia, the way she turned out the vote saved our country. If you had any concern about Trump. I mean, this woman's not to be messed with in any way, shape, or form. And he was acting as if he was dealing with some like neophyte. He was condescending. He was arrogant. He was a moron.
Mika,
yeah, I mean,
don't say that
he
about
actually,
an Oxford grad.
My question is,
Go
did he
ahead.
actually think that this woman whose job is essentially to understand voting laws in her state and to structure them in certain ways, did he actually think she would not understand the particulars of this law? It was a little confusing what he was getting at. I mean, obviously he thought he had some sort of intellectual superiority, but this is literally her work. Did he not expect that she would know the actual elements of law? To the broader point about underestimating Stacey Abrams, obviously 2020 was proof positive that you shouldn't do it. I think there's something else to discuss here, and this is not in any way to say that these voting laws are not malignant or anything like that. But oftentimes when states do pass these restrictions on voting, they have a paradoxical effect. They inspire or encourage or motivate people to go to the polls because precisely they feel targeted by the state apparatus. They look at it and they say, oh, they don't want me to vote. I'm going to just wait even more hours in line to do so. That could very well be what happens in Georgia. It's not to say that this law is a good thing, but it could be a motivating factor, and it could prove Stacey Abrams right yet again that she can organize, mobilize, and get people to the polls precisely because she wants to counteract restrictive voting measures.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.